in your LinkedIn post, you had a Venn diagram.
Mm.
What you reward when you praise. So when you praise effort, you create persistence. When you praise growth, you praise improvement. When you praise the outcomes, you praise what you reward when you praise. So you have outcomes, you're focusing on that accomplishment piece.
Yes.
I think a lot of times we focus on that last circle that I was not able to say very eloquently. But the other two, I feel like, is really where the secret sauce is.
Yeah.
So how do we recognize effort and growth? What does that look like?
Yes, I'm like looking at the Venn diagram. I got it. Hooked up on my handy dandy cell phone.
Look at technology.
Yeah, it's technology. I know, it's crazy. So when so let's look at let's imagine you got someone new on your team and they don't know anything other than the fact they're employed at your organization and that you're their boss. And the first thing that you're going to go through, they're going to go through their onboarding and they're going to start to learn the kinds of tasks they're going to need to complete in order to be performant, right? Enroll and meet expectations. So like the first thing when I'm thinking about this is, all right, there's so much space and time and so many things that need to happen between that like first day where they're live and the time where we say, all right, you've met expectations. So if I'm only waiting until that last moment, that entire time before, they're like, what's going on? What's happening? Am I doing great? Am I not? Like, am I meant for this role? Am I not? Do I want to quit? All those things. And this is where, like, I think that's the persistence piece. It's like, all right, what I really wanted, or resilience. So more than anything else, I want to praise them continuing to do the work, right? Like, hey, listen, the number one thing, Jacob, when you come onto my team, right, you're going to have a certain number of pipeline opportunities you need to generate as a sales development rep. However, this is comprised of all these small little things such as calls, emails, social outreach as well, prospects added, accounts worked, all these things. And the most important thing that you can do is be consistent across those activities. So like, hey, this week, the win for you, like what is really going to get all of us razzed up is you're making 40 calls every day, right? If you do that, that's a huge win. You add 10 prospects into sequence, that's a huge win. And so every time they meet that goal, amazing job, Jacob. I see you putting in the work. I love that. Keep it up, right? So they're like, okay, my manager's there. They're like paying attention. They're shouting me out. We said that this is the goal. Like there's like so I mean, and even in that, like that is rewarding accomplishment. You accomplished putting in the effort that you said you were going to put in. And I love that. Keep it up, right? Or even on the other side of things, it's, hey, like, GB, I've made 100 calls today and nobody has answered the phone. But guess what you did today? You made 100 freaking calls, dude. That is insane when everybody else is averaging like 40. Phenomenal. Like, it's literally only a matter of time before you get that one next call. So like, even if things didn't work out the way you wanted it to from a results standpoint, the fact that you were disciplined enough or inconsistent enough to put in the work and then some, that's a win in and of itself. So like, seriously, way to go. So I think these are little tiny things. Like these are things that are in your control. You controlled them, you hit it, you're getting all the praise. And that's going to inspire someone to go, okay, cool, I can do it again, right? And again. And even if I don't get that win, my manager's still cheering me on. So I think that's on the effort front. When I think about the growth front, I also will share with people like, hey, listen, the work that you do in your first quarter is going to be different than the work you do in your second quarter. And it's going to look much different in your fifth quarter working with me because you're going to be growing. So let's not trip about you getting everything perfect on your first call. The most important thing is that you have the call, even if it blows up in your face, you did it. And then from there, what ends up happening is we can listen to your calls, we can coach on the objections. And what the win is maybe today it takes you 20 calls before you get that one meeting booked. So a win for us is it takes you 19 calls to get one meeting booked. Like literally 1 degree of improvement is huge because it's going to add up over time. So that's when you think about like the effort and the growth and the different ways that you can do this. One is like purely task-based, right? And the other one is more about, hey, longitudinally, as long as you are like moving upwards, even if this week it doesn't feel like it, trust, like literally trust the process and trust that these gains are going to net into something really big for you.
I think also just realizing that development and growth, it is a process, right? If we're focused on more calls, more quality, changing all these things all at once, it's going to be overwhelming. And people are just going to be like, I can't do this. I'm not a good fit. They're going to, even if they want to do a good job, right? They're going to be stressed. But if we can build off strengths and then just focus on one thing at a time. So first, let's just focus on the volume of calls. You're doing 50 this week. I know you can do a lot more than that. Like, let's set a more ambitious goal. Let's get there. Then let's focus on the quality, right? Like one thing at a time where we can consistently recognize like, hey, we're getting there. We're taking chunks at this. We're making the changes that we need to make. You're doing a lot of things right. Like we're just going to keep making these small changes to get better and better. So people feel like it's possible and they start getting the wins. They feel recognized. And you called on it earlier where my manager notices me, which is another miss I think a lot of managers just have, is doing a bad job and a good job feels kind of the same because your team isn't getting the attention from you. They feel like you don't care either way. So it's easy for people to, start developing bad habits and eventually just disengage.
Yeah. I mean, recognition, like the act of giving recognition is like I feel like it's competency that can be developed over time.
Yeah.
And granted, I can go into a whole like tangent right now of
do it. Let's just go. I mean, it's 15 minutes in. If they're here right now, like they're sticking around for this tangent.
Well,
I feel like.
I'm just because I'm like from a sales perspective, I think there's always that balance between like, all right, how much activity can you put in, but like times quality or whatever.